Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews. So I'm a bit late with this actual video for this review, mainly because the release, or the scanlation release I should say, of the most recent chapter of My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, came out quite late last night in the UK, so about 9-10ish, and after a long week I was sleeping, so I figured I'd do it today. So the chapter's out. Some interesting points, things to consider, but without further ado, let's get into the review. So, point number one. We actually get confirmation that both Takayomi and Bakugao have been taken. So the original intention was always Bakugao, effectively. We find out that the enemy, the magician, was, for all intents and purposes, an entertainer in a past life or in past career. And basically he improvised, and he saw how Takayomi dealt with Moonfish, and that was the reason why he'd taken him, because the person that could kill literally a cutthroat murderer would be kind of perfect to utilize in the villain's kind of goals, I guess, or path or journey. So that was an interesting confirmation. So it really confirms what I initially thought a couple of weeks ago when I realized he'd gone out of control, and I mentioned and speculated that in my videos. Another person that mentioned that was Luffy the Dragon Slayer, and I believe Chibi mentioned it as well. But yeah, anyway, so an interesting point for point number one. So point number two, knowing that we've obviously seen Bakugao and Takayomi being caught, Shuto was kind of considering what this guy's quirk is, because he kind of pictures, and you see on the actual manga, that effectively Bakugao was in the middle and Takayomi was at the back. Somehow this guy's got between them, taken them, and got out before anyone has realised, without making even a noise. So he makes him worry, and he's thinking about the quirk, which is an interesting point when you think about it, because he's a magician. What is his ability? Because it can't be like being invisible, because we've got one of those in the academy, which I'll talk about later on anyway. But Izuku Midoriya is pissed off, and they're like, calm down, we'll take care of it. And he basically says that he's his own man, he makes up his own decisions, which is an interesting point, because even if he did get taken by the enemy, he's not necessarily going to actually agree on it. But the next point that it leads into is the fact that the magician himself actually messages all the enemies and says, look, mission's done, let's meet up, we've got a 5-minute rendezvous. So that leads on to point number three. So point number three is interesting because it kind of goes to where Darby and Deadpool, I just call him Deadpool because he just looks like Deadpool, is having a conversation. They're like, oh, the mission's gone well, brilliant, and he goes like, oh, and Darby's like, oh, he took his time. But then the other guy's like, well, to be fair, he got the job done, so does it really matter? What makes this crazier is Oyami's actually there. He's hiding behind a bush, and he's contemplating, oh, look, I know he's meant to be helping out some of the class members. So what happened was, in a flashback, it shows Momo Yaorazu basically saying, I'm going to leave these two people in your trust, and that's basically Invisible and April Girl. I think Invisible Girl is called Toru, and I can't remember her surname, Horazu I think it is, and Kyoka is the April Girl. So they're both unconscious, and he's thinking to himself, well, the gas guy's been defeated, how do I get away from this and get the people to the facility? And then it looks like Darby's clicked on to our Oyama's position, but then he gets stopped by Deadpool. He's not Deadpool, but I'll call him Deadpool. This sets up point number four. So point number four, thankfully Darby gets interrupted by Deadpool, and he basically says, oh, don't you think you should be calling Namu back? And I'm thinking, I ain't seen Namu, because you told us that you were the only person that could basically control him. And he goes, yeah, Todoroki, give me him. So he's basically, this guy's a monster, he's got like multiple arms, and he's causing havoc, and he's basically another version of that monster that we saw in this the Ultimate Space and Jams arc, and he's basically really rampaging, and he's actually going against Awase, who's got the they call it the melding or the welding quirk. He's the dude with the headband in class 1B, and I couldn't tell who the other person. There was a girl there as well. It turns out to be Momo, and basically just as he's about to attack Awase, the monster Namu, He stops because he gets called back. What we also see is Spinner and the other dude that were fighting against the Pussycat have been taken down, and Tiger's kind of done this softing technique that's pulled the guy down, and the Spinner's been taken down as well, and he's like, no, for Pain's Stain's vision, I'll show you what you can do. Get off me. And they said to him that, look, but you haven't even used your quirk, you might as well just give up. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, you are gonna let me go, and then it stops there. So I'm thinking, what is this guy's quirk? Is it like mind manipulation or something like that, or somebody else turned up to help him out? And that sets up point number 5. So point number five. Basically, they're starting to lose ground on the magician, and they're like, oh, I wish Ida was here. Ida's engine dude, right? And he basically says, this is Mido thinking, Mido's a genius, man. It really pushes the point that if geeks had powers, they'd rule the world. And he is pretty much a geek with a power now, because he comes up with this ingenious idea. He goes, what to do, Uraraka, you make us float, and Suyu, you use your tongue strength to throw us, and we'll be like missiles. So he literally does that, and Shuto and Choji's like, no, you shouldn't do it, you might faint in this position. He goes, no, I don't care, if we can move, we're going. And basically they get wrapped up and sent flying. Now we get to see people are starting to meet up, and Toga's talking to Darby and Deadpool, and she's like, oh, I collected one person's blood, and he goes, we meant to collect 3 because, oh, I bet an interesting person. She's like in love and fascinated with Izuku now, right? Midoriya. And just as that happens, the magician lands, and they land on top of him, which ends an interesting chapter because it sets up something else. So okay, does this mean the retrieval is done? Will they get him back? How will they basically be able to bring him back to normal? Now they're surrounded by 3 enemies technically as well. As 3 versus 3, but Mido is technically out of commission. But Toga likes Mido, so she might not attack him. So it's interesting to see how that's going to pan out. At the same time, we don't know exactly what's going on with all the other enemies. Now we know Muscle-bound guy is down. We know the gas dude is down. We know that Moonfish is down. But there's a lot of people still around. We know that there's 2 people that are fighting the Pussycats are down, but it looks like they're going to come back. You've got Nomu, you've got Darby, you've got Deadpool, and you've got this girl. So it's interesting to see what's actually going to happen, because there's meant to be 10 of them. So could this person that said let them go, you're going to let us go, be the 10th person? It's interesting. I really want to find out what's going on. So crazy ending to the chapter. I wish more would happen, but it's one of those chapters I really enjoyed it because it ended so quickly for me, and it's a good chapter when something ends really quickly and you think, what? Is that it? Is there no more? So an interesting chapter for me. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the chapter. I hope you did as well. I hope you enjoyed the review. If it's something you like me doing, please continue to support me by give me a thumbs up and leave it in the comment section below. Thumbs down so I know what to work on, but let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, as it will show me your support and that you enjoy to see what I'm doing. But for now, see you later. Peace.